After reincarnating into the body of the young master of the family, he finds himself in a lot of pain. While remembering the residual memory, he remembers that he was already poisoned by his own family. Unfortunately, as he is about to die right after reincarnation, suddenly he unlocks the multiverse devouring system, which actually devours the poison, and obtains the divine ability of 1,000,000 times attack speed. If this caught your attention, watch the full video to find out. In Tianwu Continent, Yayan City, at Yi family's residence, some men suddenly barge in, kicking the door open. They are shouting and calling out for a man named Yiyun. Yi family's steward, Fang Ho, tells Yiyun to come out if he isn't dead. Meanwhile, Yiyun is sitting down, his head bowed, breathing heavily. Fang Ho sees Yiyun and mocks him for surviving a soul-corroding poison, stating he will kill him with a direct hit. Yiyun looks up, bleeding from his mouth. Fang Ho then orders the two men to attack. Following the orders, one of them charges at Yiyun, his sword raised. However, Yiyun swiftly grabs onto that man's arm, startling him. Yiyun gazes intently at the frightened man, and suddenly, a loud crack fills the air. The man begins yelling in pain as Yiyun breaks his arm at the shoulder. Yiyun stands up and advises Fang Ho to minimize talking before taking action. Fang Ho, shocked, asks Yiyun how he isn't affected by the poison and injuries. Fang Ho also notices Yiyun's cultivation has recovered. Yiyun claims that the reason behind his cultivation recovery is a long story. Yiyun was once a dedicated gamer, but one day he woke up reincarnated as the young master of the Yi family, sharing his name and surname. Yiyun soon discovered through the body's memories that he had been poisoned by Yi Kun, the eldest son of the Yi family. This way, he went from being a martial arts genius to a waste in just one night. Yiyun was shocked that he was going to die the moment he arrived and refused to accept it. Fortunately, something happened that changed everything. The system appeared before Yiyun, notifying him that the multiverse devouring system had matched with him and activated automatically. Yiyun was puzzled at first, wondering what the multiverse devouring system was. The system detected a large amount of poison in Yiyun's body, asked if he wanted to devour it, and Yiyun pressed the yes button. Doing this, Yiyun was lifted off his feet, surrounded by numerous crackling bolts of lightning. The system then began activating the attribute panel in the storage space. After a while, the system notified that the poison in Yiyun's body was successfully devoured and also provided him with 800 EXP points. The system then displayed all of Yiyun's attributes. Currently, in the present, Fang Ho snarls at Yiyun, demanding to know who helped him recover his cultivation. Yiyun grins and claims that heaven couldn't tolerate scum like Fang Ho, so it sent him extraordinary abilities. Yiyun then asks Fang Ho what he wants. Yiyun is aware that his body has just recovered and his physical strength is still weak, so he decides to finish it quickly. At that moment, the system provides Yiyun with a newcomer's gift package and asks if he would like to open it. Yiyun, without hesitation, orders the system to open it. From the package, Yiyun receives a perk of 1,000,000 times attack speed, which is a powerful divine ability. Yiyun reads the description of the ability and notes that such an ability will greatly enhance his combat power. Fang Ho bellows at the other man to stop waiting and charge at Yiyun to cut off his limbs. Suddenly, Yiyun moves right in front of Fang Ho, putting a hand on his shoulder, and mutters threefold attack speed. Yiyun then uses the fire poison palm, striking Fang Ho with a powerful force of fire. A massive explosion sends stones and dust flying everywhere. Fang Ho is sent flying backward with force. He slams into a nearby wall and falls to the ground on his face. Standing among the destruction, Yiyun notes that the skill is quite handy as it also boosts his explosive power along with the speed. Meanwhile, Fang Ho, sprawled on the ground and bleeding, asks Yiyun why he has such power. Yiyun tells Fang Ho that he doesn't know many things. He suggests Fang Ho ask Yanlangi, the king of hell, to get some clarity. Yiyun then places a hand on Fang Ho's head and begins devouring his cultivation. Fang Ho, in shock, bellows out what Yiyun is doing as the system notifies that Devour is successful and grants Yiyun 300 EXP points. As Fang Ho's body falls to the ground, the last remaining man begins begging Yiyun for forgiveness. Yiyun then turns towards that man and tells him it's his turn now. The outer periphery of the Black Moon Mountain range is silent under the gleaming moonlight. Suddenly, the silence is broken as someone's punch sends a wild boar flying backward. The boar crashes into dry logs, crushing them to pieces. Yiyun stands there, his fist raised after punching the boar. He wipes the sweat off his face while huffing. He is standing before the massive boar he just killed, surrounded by countless others. He then puts a hand on the dead boar's body and claims he nearly ran out of mana. He mutters Devour as the system awards him 100 EXP and congratulates him on reaching the 5th stage of body tempering. Yiyun reveals he has been practicing continuously for the past 2 days, raising his physique from the 3rd to the 5th stage of body tempering. During this time, he has found out that the system can devour not only a cultivator's cultivation but also pills, techniques, and spirit stones. When Yun had defeated Fang Ho, he found some pills on him. Upon devouring the pills, they fused into higher-grade pills in his body, increasing his cultivation and providing him with 500 EXP points. Yun also found out that besides cultivator's cultivation, demonic beasts are also key targets for devouring. Demonic beasts from the 1st to the 9th rank correspond to the 9 great realms of cultivators, and devouring them can rapidly enhance cultivation. However, just like with devouring cultivators' cultivation, the system must detect that the target is critically injured or near death. If not, the system gives an error that the target does not meet the devouring conditions. Yun is aware that as long as he devours non-living beings, it will restore a certain amount of his stamina. He notices that the cut on his palm is already healing. At that moment, the system detects a new group of demonic beasts and informs Yun. Yun claims that after killing those wild boars, he will reach the 5th stage of body tempering. However, he notes that this level is not enough and he needs to level up much higher, as he easily defeats all the boars in his path. Later that night, Yun is standing inside the Yi family's courtyard. He says that he has devoured most of the demonic beasts in the outer periphery of the Black Moon Mountain range. While doing so, he discovered barriers restricting him from entering the inner circle, which requires the combined efforts of the 3 major clans to open. He decides to consider other cultivation methods the next day and proceeds to open the door to the house. But, before he can enter, the door suddenly shatters into pieces, alarming him. He asks who it is and sees hooded men wielding weapons as the leader accuses Yun of daring to kill his people. That man is Yi Kun, son of the elder, and he points his sword at Yun, calling him cocky. Yun is surprised to see Yi Kun there. Yi Kun points out that the soul-eroding corpse poison he obtained from the southern frontliner couldn't kill Yun. Yi Kun also notes that Yun has reached the 5th stage of body tempering in just 2 days. Yi Kun mutters that it doesn't matter and claims the heavens gave him an opportunity. With a smirk, he charges at Yun, declaring he will torture him again with his own hands. Yun reacts swiftly, grabbing Yi Kun's hands and shocking him with his speed. Yun smiles as a loud cracking sound rings out like a gunshot. Yi Kun screams in pain as Yun twists his arm backward, breaking it. The other men shout out for their master, Yi Kun. Yun has gripped tightly onto Yi Kun's hand and twisted it. His eyes bulging, Yi Kun snarls at Yun for daring to break his arm. Yi Kun declares that he will kill Yun. However, Yun points out that it won't just be Yi Kun's arm and forcefully breaks his legs as well. Yi Kun yells out loud in pain. Yun says that even Yi Kun's legs won't be spared. Meanwhile, Yi Kun's guards lunge at Yun, demanding him to release their master. Yun agrees to this and flings Yi Kun away. Then, he fixes his gaze on the incoming guards and charges toward them with great speed. He beats down every guard, leaving one of them shocked at Yun's speed despite being only at the 5th stage of body tempering. Yun closes in on the last guard and grabs him by the throat. Doing so, Yun slams him onto the ground. Meanwhile, Yi Kun, who is leaned up against the wall, spits out that this can't be possible. In fear, he warns Yun not to come near him. Yun asks Yi Kun if he enjoys poisoning others, while Yi Kun screams for him not to come closer. But Yun dashes towards Yi Kun and attacks him, telling him to taste the pain for himself. A small outburst shakes the place, sending dust flying everywhere. His body in flames, Yi Kun challenges Yun to kill him now or warns of taking revenge later. Yun, with his hand placed on Yi Kun's head, asks if he really seeks revenge. Yun assures Yi Kun he won't get another chance, instructs the system to devour, and the system confirms the devouring is complete. Yun also receives 1500 EXP points and reaches the 6th stage of body tempering. Meanwhile, Yi Kun shouts loudly, realizing his cultivation is gone, and asks Yun what he did to him. Yun claims that he just repaid Yi Kun for what he did to him back then. With this, Yun tells Yi Kun to get out of his sight. With his fist clenched, Yun asks Yi Kun if he understands. At the Yi family estate in Baiyun City, inside the patriarch's mansion, a man, bloodied and beaten, lies on the ground and desperately urges his companion to send a message quickly. He then shouts out, requesting the Grand Patriarch to be called back immediately. Amidst the dozen beaten men, Yun, sweating from fatigue, claims he devoured much cultivation and found the key to the Grand Patriarch's private trove. He is also worried that Yi Kun's father won't spare him for ruining his son's Dantian. Yi Changha, Yi Kun's father and the Yi family's Grand Patriarch, is a master at the 2nd stage of the Qi blood realm. Yi Yun, who is only at the 6th stage of body tempering currently, is not sure if he will be able to defeat Yi Changhe. So, he declares he should raise his cultivation as quickly as he can. At that moment, the system informs Yi Yun that a treasure is detected 5 meters nearby. Yi Yun follows the direction and arrives at a wall, where he inserts the key into a gap. With this, the massive door swings open, revealing an abundance of treasures, gold coins, precious gems, and more. There are also many books and utensils. Yi Yun declares these treasures are now his as he raises his hand. He begins devouring every content inside the room, gaining loads of EXP along with it. After a few moments of devouring, Yi Yun successfully reaches the 9th stage of body tempering. The system then displays Yi Yun's newly upgraded attributes. Yi Yun thinks it's still more efficient to take the pills. At that moment, he gasps, seeing something. He discovers a 3rd-layer spiritual weapon, the Spirit Execution Sword, and expresses surprise that Yi Changhe possesses such an item. He then raises his hand and summons the sword towards him. Yi Yun is aware that this sword can directly confront a martial artist in the Grandmaster realm, so he commands the system to hide the sword, which confirms it has been stored in the system's storage space. Yi Yun inspects the system's storage and claims it is unlimited, allowing him to store and retrieve any items as needed. He grins, saying Yi Changhe would never have imagined that his weapon would one day kill him. A short while later, Yi Yun walks along a path, returning back since there's nothing more for him to devour in the current location. Suddenly, someone runs shouting behind Yi Yun as Wu Mo, the Yi family's butler, questions why he isn't recuperating in his room. Yi Yun, surprised, asks Wu Mo what he is doing there. Wu Mo urgently grabs Yi Yun's arm and pulls him forward, saying they should leave this place quickly. An old man, sweating, gives loud continuous coughs and spits blood onto a piece of cloth. He is the master of the Yi family, Yi Wushuang, and he looks extremely ill. A caretaker, with a concerned look, reminds Yi Wushuang that he is severely injured and requests him to take a rest. But Yi Wushuang says he can't rest assured without seeing Yun'er with his own eyes. At that moment, Yi Yun arrives and addresses his father, Yi Wushuang. Yi Wushuang gives a surprised look seeing Yi Yun there. Yi Yun attends to his father and asks Uncle Wu what happened to him. Uncle Wu explains that Yi Wushuang went to great lengths to find an antidote for Yi Yun and was injured by demonic beasts in the process. Yi Wushuang, coughing, tells Wu to stop talking and orders him to bring the elixir. Wu does as asked and fetches a round, sparkling jade-like object. Yi Wushuang offers the elixir to Yi Yun, claiming it will remove 30% of the poison in his body. Yi Yun takes the elixir and notes that this item lifts poison and raises cultivation levels as well. Yi Wushuang promises to find a way to remove the rest of the poison from Yi Yun. Yi Yun is truly grateful knowing that his father risked his own life to get the elixir. Yi Yun smiles as he puts his palm on his father's back. Startled at first and then surprised, Yi Wushuang asks Yi Yun how his cultivation level increased. Yi Yun claims that he's been enlightened by a master, the poison in his body is lifted, and he has already reached the 9th stage of body tempering. Saying this, Yi Yun offers a healing elixir to his father. Yi Wushuang takes the elixir and asks Yi Yun if that master gave them those healing elixirs too. Yi Yun denies this and reveals he ransacked Yi Changhe's treasury. Yi Yun also mentions that he destroyed Yi Kun's dantian. Uncle Wu and the caretaker are both bewildered hearing this. Yi Wushuang, meanwhile, gives a booming laugh. Smiling, Yi Wushuang praises Yi Yun for his actions. The caretaker, open-mouthed in shock, bellows out that it's no time to praise Yi Yun. Yi Wushuang warns Yi Yun that Yi Kun's father will try to take revenge. Yi Wushuang reveals that Yi Changhe has ostracized him for years, and now 5 patriarchs have allied with Yi Changhe in an attempt to overthrow him. Yi Wushuang points out that he and Yi Yun should be careful in the future. Yi Yun assures his father not to worry and says if anyone comes to hurt them, he will kill them all. At that very moment, the door of the gate gets kicked open by someone. Yi Yun and Yi Wushuang are both taken aback. A man walks in asking for Master Yi. 3 men stand at the gate. The one in the middle declares that the Grand Patriarch has summoned the entire clan to the council chamber immediately. Yi Yun stays silent, giving a curious look. Meanwhile, in the council chamber, a man recounts Yi Yun's reckless behavior, including torturing Yi Kun and plundering the treasury. The man requests the Grand Patriarch to avenge Yi Kun, prompting the Patriarch to curse in rage. Yi Changhe turns his head, furious and surrounded by flames, vowing to tear Yi Yun apart. Yi Ming, the second Patriarch, bellows out in anger, asking how dare Yi Yun lay his hands on Yi Kun, and slaps the table. At that very moment, an explosion blows the whole door, sending dust and smoke flying around. Yi Ming, startled, turns around asking who dares make trouble there. To everyone's surprise, Yi Yun stands at the door, atop a guard's body, pointing out that their compatriots were attacked first. Yi Changhe, looking enraged, calls out Yi-yun for not bowing in front of the patriarch. Yi-yun accuses Yi-chang of breaking the rules first and questions his qualifications to make such claims. Yi-yun also questions whether Yi-chang is fit to stand in his father's place. Yi-chang's fury reaches its peak at Yi-yun's insolence, causing the flames around him to intensify. Yi-yun taunts Yi-chang, asking why he is speechless. At that moment, Yi Wushuang arrives, apologizing for his lateness. Yi-yun assures that his father isn't late and claims the show is just about to begin. Yi Wushuang points at Yi-chang, demanding to know his actions and if he is trying to rebel. Yi-chang laughs at the word rebel, steps forward, and says Yi Wushuang's qualifications are too mediocre to lead the family. Raising both hands, Yi-chang argues that the head of the family should be someone capable and asks the other patriarchs for their opinions. The patriarchs agree with Yi-chang's views and they all declare their loyalty to him. Surprised, Yi Wushuang asks the three patriarchs why they support Yi-chang, unaware that their family members are under Yi-chang's control. Yi-chang conjures a fireball in his palms and tells Yi Wushuang to kill his son if he wants to be spared. Yi-yun asks Yi-chang if he truly desires to be the head of the family, then swiftly gets behind him to test Yi-chang's strength. Yi-chang snarls that Yi-yun is out of his depth. Yi-yun launches a punch with his fire poison palm while Yi-chang counters with his dark wind palm in a fierce confrontation. The spectators in the hall are surprised to see Yi-yun's strength equal to Yi-chang's. Yi-chang calls Yi-yun a brat. Meanwhile, Yi-yun, who is smirking, tells Yi-chang to hold out longer, claiming he has a lot of surprises in store. Saying this, Yi-yun bellows out sword and summons the sword he took from the treasury earlier. Yi-chang is shocked to see Yi-yun holding his sword, and in an instant, Yi-yun pierces his heart with it. Caught off guard, Yi-chang is bewildered as he spits blood. Yi-chang, now dead, falls down on his face. Standing over Yi-chang's sprawled body, Yi-yun asks him how it feels to die by his own sword. At that moment, a masked man suddenly lunges at Yi-yun from behind. Yi-yun senses the stealth attack and leaps aside as the attacker's strike hits the floor, causing it to crumble. The attacker accuses Yi-yun of ruining Yi-kun and killing Yi-chang, questioning whether he is completely disregarding the Yi family. Yi Wushuang asks Yi-yun if he is okay, and Yi-yun responds that he's fine. Yi-yun reveals that the Yang family is one of the 4 great families that hold a powerful position in the country. Not long ago, the Yang family demanded that the Yi family shed their surname to join them, a condition Yi-kun sought through marriage. Yi-yun wonders if Yi-chang got arrogant because he wanted to flatter the Yang family. The masked man tells Yi-yun to apologize if he and his father want to die in peace. Another man beside the masked one suggests they tackle Yi-yun first before reporting back to their family head. Saying so, the second man summons a sword and charges at Yi-yun, declaring that he should prepare for death. But Yi-yun stops the powerful swing of the sword with just 2 fingers. The man is bewildered and unable to move as Yi-yun claims that the 3rd stage of the Chi blood realm is not that powerful. Yi-yun then attacks that man back, who screams in pain as he dies. Spectating from the side, the masked man and Yi-ming are both perplexed. Yi-ming asks Yi-yun if he is crazy for daring to kill both the Grand Patriarch and the Yang family's emissary. Yi-yun points out that he's merely responding in kind to what those men tried to do to him. He makes it clear that he will kill anyone back if they try to kill him. With this, Yi-yun raises 2 fingers and points them forward, summoning countless swords all around him. The spectators are baffled seeing this technique. Yi-yun now gives the people their 2 choices: to either obey his father and pledge their allegiance to him or else get shredded into pieces. Yi-yun then turns to the masked man and asks him if he wants to surrender, but the masked man doesn't want to. So Yi-yun snaps his fingers and sends all the swords flying towards the man, who quickly summons a barrier around him. A look of struggle is visible on the man's face as he thinks he won't be able to hold out much longer. Suddenly, the shield bursts, and the man is pierced by multiple swords. Yi-yun points out that it's the right way for that man. With this, both the brothers lay dead on the ground. Yi-yun summons the system and devours those men's cultivation, reaching the 2nd stage of the Chi blood realm. The system also informs him that his skill point has risen and he can use 5-fold attack speed. Yi-yun now realizes that he can boost his attack speed once he breaks through a realm. Meanwhile, Yi-ming is baffled by Yi-yun's newfound power and sees only one way out of the situation. He then moves forward and bows down to Yi-yun, ready to serve him. Yi-yun explains that only those who are forced to follow Yi-chang can be forgiven if they help eradicate his remaining supporters. As for the 5 traitors, Yi-yun declares they will be imprisoned in the dungeons until death. Hearing this, those 5 are dumbfounded. Yi-yun then orders the guards to move forward and capture the 5 traitors. Yi Wushuang asks Yi-yun if he was hurt, and Yi-yun assures him not to worry, claiming they will be safe now. Yi Wuxiang proudly tells Yi Yun he has grown up and hopes to transfer the head of the family position to him in the future. Yi Yun asks his father when the secret black moon will be unleashed. Yi Wuxiang mentions that there are still 10 days left and asks Yi Yun why he wants to know. Yi Yun knows that the secret black moon holds a secret cave full of spiritual aura where many strong demonic beasts exist. Inside that cave are also many precious and rare treasures that can be cultivated. In order to prevent the endless scavenging of that cave, the three great families sealed it, and now it is unleashed once every 3 years. When it is time, the three great families send powerful disciples to enter the cave to cultivate and grab treasures. The Yang family has several Qi blood realm masters, with their eldest young master at the peak of the realm, so Yi Yun needs to be stronger to fight him. For this reason, Yi Yun decides to make a trip to the secret black moon. A massive waterfall cascades down a cliff, surrounded by lush greenery and a clear blue sky. Yi Yun is currently underwater, diving deeper with each passing second. He is heading towards a certain treasure located at the deep seabed. At that moment, the system notifies Yi Yun of a treasure scent coming from the south. Yi Yun dives deeper and reaches a strange-looking plant-like creature. He then extends his hand and devours the treasure, gaining 4,000 EXP points. He then swims upwards to the surface, claiming he just reached the third stage of the Qi blood realm. These are his current stats. Seconds later, Yi Yun breaks through the surface and takes a long deep breath of fresh air. He is startled as he sees someone in front of him. A lady, surprised, watches as Yi Yun emerges from the water. She then lets out a loud scream, calling Yi Yun a pervert. Yi Yun sprints away, with the lady chasing him and cursing him. The lady raises her palm at Yi Yun, telling him to die. Yi Yun reacts swiftly and grabs onto the lady's arm, telling her it's a misunderstanding. Suddenly, the lady spits blood and falls onto Yi Yun's arm, who asks her if she is okay. The lady mutters for him to get off her, barely able to talk. Yi Yun sees that there is a large sword wound on the lady's shoulder. At that moment, men on horses come galloping in, claiming they've found the lady. The bald dude reaches for his weapon, smirking, and says the lady is really good at escaping. The baldy raises his unsheathed weapon and tells Yi Yun to get lost, claiming the lady is the target of the Wild Horse Gang. Yi Yun knows that the Wild Horse Gang is a notorious group of thieves known for looting and creating violence. The bald man points out that he has already warned Yi Yun as he prepares to sheath his saber. Yi Yun suddenly appears right behind the bald man, startling him. And before the bald man can react, Yi Yun attacks him, sending him crashing off his horse. The other bandits charge forward, shouting for their boss, who is now dead and sprawled on the ground. Yi Yun, carrying the lady in one arm and a weapon in the other, observes that the bandits are all at the first stage of the Qi blood realm. The bandits bellow out that they will avenge their boss and kill Yi Yun. Yi Yun thinks the bandits are out of their depth as he swings his sword, slaying them all in one go. The system notifies Yi Yun that there are 7 people there along with a large number of treasures which can all be devoured at once. Yi Yun is surprised to learn the system can devour them all at once. Yi Yun raises his hand, saying it will save him time this way, and begins devouring everything. The system informs him he has gained 220,000 EXP after the devouring is complete, and Yi Yun breaks through to the 4th stage of the Qi blood realm. Yi Yun then walks away, pointing out that he was able to break through due to the large number of bandits. The lady runs after Yi Yun, telling him to wait for her. She thanks Yi Yun for saving and healing her and introduces herself as Qin Yao and asks who he is. Yi Yun introduces himself in return. Qin Yao, pleased to learn Yi Yun is from the Yi family, says she is from the Kaiyuan sect. They're to recruit outstanding disciples. At that very moment, large fireworks explode in the nearby sky. Yi Yun thinks something must have happened, and he sprints away, bidding Qin Yao goodbye as she runs after him, calling for him to wait for her. Yi Yun arrives at his house to find all of the disciples lying dead all over the courtyard. Yi Yun notices one of them alive and, kneeling down near him, asks who attacked him. At that moment, someone calls out to Yi Yun from behind. Standing a few feet away, a man accuses Yi Yun of ruining the marriage between the Yi and Yang families and killing 2 of his deacons. He is Yang Qingmu, the chief steward of the Yang family, and he calls Yi Yun a loser. Yi Yun's father, who has been captured and is injured, bellows at Yi Yun to escape. Angry at being called a loser, Yi Yun vows to give Yang Qingmu a painful death, swinging his sword to send dark, blade-like attacks. The enemies are shocked by Yi Yun's quick reflexes. The dark blade strikes the man at the front. Another man looks down, sees his severed legs, and bellows in pain. Yang Qingmu is taken aback seeing his people drop dead out of nowhere. Smirking, Yun says the Yang family is slow to receive intelligence. Meanwhile, Yang Qingmu is baffled, having not even seen Yun draw his blade. Yun walks to his father, who assures him he is alright. Yang Qingmu notes that Yun's talent rivals the Yang family's geniuses, despite being only at the 4th level of the Qi blood realm. He acknowledges Yun's skill and offers him a chance to join the Yang family in exchange for sparing the Yi family's lives. Yun mocks Yang Qingmu for wanting to spare the Yi family and questions if he is in a position to make such demands. In a rage, Yang Qingmu points his sword forward and charges at Yun. Yun swiftly raises his sword to confront Yang Qingmu. At that moment, someone shouts for them to stop and leaps between them, crushing the floor below. The old man standing between Yun and Yang Qingmu tells them to stop fighting. Yang Qingmu recognizes the man as Elder Qiu and asks why he is there. The others recognize Elder Qiu Tsunyun of the Kaiyuan sect, noting his mastery of the Grandmaster realm and the sect's many top-tier powerhouses. Qiu claims he is there to return a favor to Yun. He also asks if Yun is interested in joining the Kaiyuan sect. Yun is shocked at this offer, as he knows the Kaiyuan sect only accepts new disciples once in 100 years. Despite this, he declares that he is not interested in that offer. Yang Qingmu grits his teeth and charges at Yun in rage. Qiu stops Yang Qingmu and asks if he doesn't understand. With a threatening look, Qiu asks Yang Qingmu if he wants to be an enemy of the Kaiyuan sect. Intimidated, Yang Qingmu mutters that he doesn't want to. So, Yang Qingmu sheathes his sword, decides to forget the fight, and tells Yun to never set foot in Qingyang. Yang Qingmu turns to his men and suggests they leave. But Yun mentions that he hasn't given permission for Yang Qingmu to leave. Yun disappears and reappears behind Yang Qingmu, raising his sword to sever the hand that injured his father. Yang Qingmu turns sideways in fright. But before Yang Qingmu can react, Yun grabs his hand, twists it backwards, and breaks it. Yang Qingmu screams loudly in pain, clutching his arm. Cursing Yun, Yang Qingmu charges at him as Yun claims he made a mistake. Yun then says he should have aimed for the other hand and chops off Yang Qingmu's remaining hand. With this, Yun tells Yang Qingmu he can leave now. Yang Qingmu curses in pain as Qiu suggests he refrain from fighting back to avoid further consequences. Yang Qingmu grits his teeth and declares he won't forget this shame. As he turns to leave, Yang Qingmu vows to exact revenge on Yun in the future. Yun points out that Yang Qingmu is not qualified to do so. Yang Qingmu and his men then sprint away. Yu Shuang gasps and says it's good that Yun came back on time, or it would have been bad. Yu Shuang then bows to Qiu and thanks him for relieving them. Qiu informs them that Qin Yao told him to thank Yun for saving her life. Qiu then hands Yun a badge, offering it as a token for joining the Kaiyuan sect if he ever desires. Yun considers for a moment, then accepts the badge and thanks Qiu. Qiu takes his leave, begins teleporting, and vanishes through thin air in an instant. A guard informs Yu Shuang that the candidates for the secret Black Moon are seriously injured in this incident. However, Yun assures his father not to worry and summons a box of some kind. A dozen more boxes begin appearing, which the people recognize as top-tier healing elixirs. Yu Shuang asks Yun where he got them, and Yun says it was by chance. Yun then explains that these elixirs will help with the injuries as well as with breaking through the realm. Yun declares that those who are capable can explore the secret Black Moon with him in 7 days. 7 days later, at the Black Moon mountain range, Yun, along with a group of people, arrives there. The entrance to the secret Black Moon is a massive dark opening, surrounded by a luminous aura. At that moment, someone from behind tells Yun, "Long time no see." Zhou Yuanlei, accompanied by Zhou Xiong and his team, asks why Grand Patriarch Yi Chang'e is not there leading the clan. Yu Shuang mentions that the Grand Patriarch has been removed from the Yi family. Xing Yinfeng, the master of the Jing family, points out that the current team of the Yi family is not strong. Zhou Yuanlei tells Master Jing not to worry, noting that the Yi family's upgraded team won't need special care this year. Zhou Yuanlei lies, claiming that the previous year's Yi family team was ambushed by beasts and needed help. Yun says that Master Zhou is wrong and claims that special care is still needed. Yun mentions that the special care won't be for the Yi family but for the 2 other families, and releases a strong aura. Master Zheng and Master Zhou shield their faces, startled as they wonder if anyone in the Yi family has reached the 4th stage of the Qi blood realm. Master Zheng and Zhou are shocked to see the Yi family members have broken through the realm in only a few days. Yin questions the 2 masters on why they are surprised and asks when they will unseal the secret Black Moon. Master Zheng points his weapon at Yun and declares they will see who is stronger after entering the secret Black Moon. Yun, in an excited tone, says he looks forward to that. that. And so the three main masters get ready to start unsealing the secret Black Moon. The three of them direct their powers at the seal and open it. With the seal now opened, Zhou Xiong, the young master of the Zhou family, with his team, rushes forward first. Xing Tianlong, the master of the Xing family, also starts running forward, claiming he won't let others get a head start. Yan shouts out that they will go now as well. With this, all of the teams begin entering the secret Black Moon. Inside the Black Moon, they discover an abundance of spiritual energy for them to cultivate and become stronger. As Yun is inspecting around, the system notifies him there's a sacred treasure a kilometer to the north. Yun hopes to find the treasure with the guidance of the system and tells his team to follow him. Zhou Xiong watches as the Yi family team leaps away, and a member suggests they also hurry or all the treasure might be gone. Zhou Xiong says he will let the Yi family clear the way and then kill them to take the treasure. A member warns that if they kill Yi Yun, the Yi family won't spare them. Zhou Xiong laughs loudly and mentions that with plenty of beasts around, no one will suspect they killed Yi Yun. The other members praise Zhou Xiong, calling him wise. Zhou Xiong gives an evil grin and says they will put the blame on the beasts. At that moment, Yi Yun appears behind Zhou Xiong out of nowhere. Yi Yun places his sword at Zhou Xiong's neck while the members demand Yi Yun release their young master now. Zhou Xiong points out that he is the young master of the Zhou family, implying that Yi Yun won't dare harm him. But Yi Yun, without hesitation, makes a small cut on Zhou Xiong's neck, prompting the other members to charge at him. Yi Yun calls everyone weaklings and, with a single swing of his sword, sends them all flying backward. Clutching his wound, Zhou Xiong asks Yi Yun how he dares. Yi Yun says that he not only will dare hurt Zhou Xiong but is going to kill him as well. Zhou Xiong warns Yi Yun that if he kills him, his father will never spare Yi Yun and will burn down his entire family. Yi Yun considers this might be a possibility and then asks how the Zhou family will know he killed Zhou Xiong. Zhou Xiong clenches his teeth in rage. Yi Yun repeats Zhou Xiong's plan to kill him and blame it on the beasts, stating he will do the same with Zhou Xiong. Now frightened to death, Zhou Xiong turns around and tries to escape, but Yi Yun grabs Zhou Xiong's head and tells him not to rush off, claiming he still needs to give Zhou Xiong special care. A wolf stands on a rocky peak under a glowing moon, howling. Suddenly, the monster's head gets chopped off. The Yi family's team, who have killed dozens of these monsters, are busy collecting the loot. A member informs Yi Yun all the monsters have been slain and asks if they should move on. Yi Yun agrees. Yi Yun inspects his stats, frustrated by his slow advancement despite devouring many things and only reaching the 5th level of the Qi blood realm. At that moment, the system informs Yi Yun about a 3rd-grade sacred material, which can only be obtained by a Grandmaster realm martial artist. Yi Yun instructs the members to stay there and sprints away. He is certain that the sacred treasure must be surrounded and protected by ferocious beasts. Shortly after, Yi Yun reaches the bottom of the cliff. There are many verdant sacred fruits, 3rd-grade spirit elixirs, hanging from a tree. A group of bats are fast asleep, hanging from the branches of the same tree. Yi Yun notes that the bats are 3rd-grade demonic beasts and is curious to see how strong they actually are. So he leaps off the branch, straight at the bats below. The bats notice Yi Yun and, opening their mouths, send sound waves at him. Yi Yun is surprised to see the bats use sonic attacks, but this has no effect on Yi Yun as he cuts through the bats, telling them to die. When more bats come flying at him, Yi Yun swings his sword and sends a lot of dark blade attacks at them. As Yi Yun steps on a crumbling cliff edge, he falls, and a massive monster with a gaping mouth prepares to swallow him. But at the last moment, Yi Yun leaps aside just as the monster closes its jaws. Within a second, more than a dozen black-scaled gators, 3rd-grade demonic beasts, surround Yi Yun from all sides. Yi Yun, with his sword half piercing the ground, jumps a few feet up and then lands back down on it, driving the sword deeper into the ground. This causes the ground to burst open like an earthquake, sending all the gators flying. The sword flies upwards towards Yi Yun, who is hovering a few feet off the ground, and he catches it. Yi Yun uses the spirit glow sword technique, summoning multiple glowing swords around him. He then unleashes a powerful, swirling vortex of energy, repelling the bats and the gators away. He continues doing this as the bats begin dying one by one, caught in the vortex. The energy in the vortex intensifies, with its size growing until finally, it reaches maximum and finishes every one of the monsters around. Yi Yun lands on the ground, exhaling. All around him are the dead bodies of the monsters, and he decides to devour them. The system starts the devouring, and after it's complete, provides Yi Yun 500,000 EXP points, and he breaks through to the 7th stage of the Qi blood realm. Yi-Yun is pleased with his cultivation going up by 2 levels. Now finished with the monsters, Yi-Yun targets the verdant sacred fruits. Suddenly, a massive spiked iron ball comes at Yi-Yun from behind, which he dodges. The iron ball slams onto the ground, sending rubble and dust flying. Jing Tianlong, who just attacked Yi-Yun, claims he has his eyes on the verdant sacred fruits and tells Yi-Yun to clear off. Yi-Yun mentions that Tianlong can't do anything to him. Tianlong extends his mace ahead and charges at Yi-Yun, calling him arrogant. Yi-Yun blocks the mace with a barrier, asking Tianlong if that's all he's got. Tianlong is taken aback as Yi-Yun calls him a disappointment and strikes him around his ribs. With this single attack, Tianlong gets sent flying backwards, spitting blood. He then crashes into a nearby wall as his party members shout for him. Yi-Yun warns Tianlong he will die if he lays his hands on the sacred fruits. Tianlong mutters that it's interesting, stands up while wiping blood from his lips, and declares that Yi-Yun will die now. Tianlong then chews on a pill in his hand, leaving Yi-Yun puzzled. Suddenly, Tianlong grins widely as veins pop on his body, which grows bulkier, surrounded by a terrifying aura. He gives a sinister laugh, telling Yi-Yun he will die. The thing Tianlong ate earlier is a 2nd-grade Qi blood elixir, which has increased his strength 3-fold. Tianlong pushes himself off the ground and lunges at Yi-Yun, telling him to get down on his knees if he wants mercy. But Yi-Yun, with a calm expression, says he will now send Tianlong crying back to his father. Meanwhile, outside the secret Black Moon, the 3 heads of the houses are waiting for their respective parties to return. Yi Wushuang seems a little concerned for Yi-Yun. Zhou Yuanlei sees Wushuang's expression and teases him, asking if he is worried for his son. He adds that with numerous monsters inside the secret Black Moon, most will return injured and might even fight among themselves for the secret treasure. Jing Yinfeng points out that every member is on their own, and if they lose their lives, it means they are weak. Zhou Yuanlei mentions that there are rules laid by their ancestors they need to abide by and hopes Master Yi will understand that. Yi Wushuang agrees with Master Zhou, expressing more concern that Yi-Yun might not stop due to his enjoyment, and laughs. At that very moment, the 3 masters turn around, startled at something. From the entrance, Tianlong and his team come crashing out, looking beaten up. Seeing this, Yinfeng shouts out for his son. Tianlong comes flying out and hits hard on the ground, spitting blood. Yinfeng gets down on his knees, holds his son, and asks if he is okay and what happened. Tianlong groans in pain, muttering it was Yi-Yun, while Yinfeng realizes his son's bones are all broken. Yi-Yun walks out and says Tianlong was crying for his father inside, so he beat him and sent him out. Yinfeng, still holding on to his son, urges him to speak. Now enraged, Yinfeng turns towards Yi-Yun and declares he will shred him to pieces. Zhou Yuanlei asks Yi-Yun what's going on and why no other family has come out except the Yin family. Yi-Yun sighs and says he wanted to give the other families special care but couldn't since the secret realm is very dangerous. Zhou Yuanlei accuses Yi-Yun of messing with his son since he hasn't come out yet. Zhou Yuanlei then suggests to Jin Yinfeng that they should just kill Yi-Yun right now. Hearing this, Yi Wushuang asks Zhou Yuanlei if he is trying to break the rules set before. Zhou Yuanlei snarls at Wushuang to not blame him and bellows out that he must kill Yi-Yun. Suddenly, Yi-Yun grabs Zhou Yuanlei and, lifting him up, tells him if he doesn't play by the rules, then he won't either. Yi-Yun then snaps Zhou Yuanlei's neck. Jin Yinfeng is shocked to see Yi-Yun kill Zhou Yuanlei so easily. Zhou Yuanlei's face is messed up as his dead body falls to the ground. Yi-Yun then turns to Jin Yinfeng, declaring it's his turn next. Jin Yinfeng swings his mace at Yi-Yun, shouting at him to not be arrogant. Yi-Yun reacts swiftly and deflects the attack with his sword. Jin Yinfeng appears right behind Yi-Yun, ready to kick him, but Yi-Yun blocks this attack as well. Jin Yinfeng is bewildered as he asks Yi-Yun how he dodged that attack in an instant. Yi-Yun reasons that Jin Yinfeng is too slow as he attacks back and Jin Yinfeng barely manages to block it. Yi-Yun, looking calm, asks Jin Yinfeng if that's all he's got as Jin Yinfeng prepares to attack with a spear. But before it's thrown, the spear shatters into pieces, startling Jin Yinfeng. Taking the chance, Yi-Yun sends another attack at Jin Yinfeng, which now strikes him, leaving massive cuts all over his body. Yi-Yun tells Jin Yinfeng to just die as he raises his sword for the final strike. Jin Yinfeng finally falls to the ground, gravely injured. He claims that he didn't expect to lose and notes that Yi-Yun has destroyed the centuries-old harmony among the 3 great families. Yi-Yun agrees with this accusation. Jin Yinfeng then requests Yi-Yun to spare his life, vowing to obey the Yi family. Yi-Yun laughs and declares that from now on only the Yi family will remain the top family in Baiyin City. Jin Yinfeng looks enraged hearing this as Yi-Yun claims that the Zhou and the Jing families have brutalized many of Yi family's compatriots, and he raises his hand, pointing out that since the Zhou and Jing families are close, Janine Feng should join Zhou Yuanlei in hell. With this, Yan finishes off Janine Feng for good. The Zhou mansion in Baiyun City stands under the light of the full moon, fully guarded by numerous sentries. Hanli, the second in command of the Wild Horse Gang, looking frustrated and impatient, asks how long they need to wait. Zhou Tianhao, brother of Zhou Yuanlei, tells Han to be patient and points out they might need to wait longer as they haven't been given the signal yet. Han grabs Tianhao's collar and asks if he doesn't trust the Wild Horse Gang to take down the Zhang and Yi families. Tianhao claims that he trusts Hanli but notes that they have to wait for the master's plan to succeed before moving forward. Tianhao's master is Zhou Yuanlei, and their plan is to deal a fatal blow to Jing Yinfeng and destroy the Jing house. Tianhao believes the Yi family is no match for them. They just need to kill the two family masters and have the clansmen follow the Zhou family obediently. Hearing this plan, Hanli says he understands. Grinning, he points out that these kinds of dirty tricks are much dirtier than those of the Wild Horse Gang. Tianhao claims that it doesn't matter what means are used as long as the desired end is achieved. Hanli assures Tianhao not to worry and tells him to leave the rest to the Wild Horse Gang. Hanli then mentions that his saber likes blood and warns Tianhao not to interfere later when the killing starts. Tianhao promises that he won't stop Hanli from killing the Zhang and Yi family clans. Hanli grins and says he will show everyone what the Wild Horse Gang is all about. At that moment, Yan arrives and tells Hanli he won't be able to wipe out the Yi family with such weak martial arts. Seeing Yan, both Hanli and Tianhao stand up quickly and point their swords at him. Tianhao and Hanli both charge at Yan, who also raises his sword to fight back. Yan swings his sword and sends an attack directly at Hanli. Yan then powerfully kicks Tianhao's ribs. Tianhao coughs blood from the attack and crashes down on the ground, falling back. The rest of the bad guys charge at Yan to kill him. Yan also sprints forward, declaring none of them will live. As Yan begins cutting through everyone inside the hall, Tianhao sprints outside in fear, calling out for help. But he becomes speechless as he sees everyone outside has been killed as well. He gives a frightened yell as a man's body comes crashing down nearby. Tianhao crawls backward in shock and fear, asking how it's possible. Yan walks out and tells Tianhao that his men have gone down to hell. Outside the palace, in the courtyard, are the dozens of dead bodies of Tianhao's men, all sprawled on the ground. Yan points out that the Zhou family, the Jing family, and the Wild Horse Gang made a fatal mistake. Tianhao flings a spear at Yan, telling him not to come near, which Yan stops mid-air with his hand. Yan says the first mistake was messing with the Yi family. Tianhao begins sweating in fear as Yan crushes the spearhead into pieces and mentions the second mistake was thinking they could mess with the Yi family. And the third mistake, Yan says, is they happen to meet the vindictive Yan. Tianhao points at Yan, bellowing that the mayor will come after him and the Yi family will be ruined, just as Yan's attack strikes him. Yan declares that anyone who does not submit will die, and Tianhao, with a large cut on his face, falls to the ground. At that moment, Yi Wushuang and others arrive, and seeing his father, Yan decides to leave the rest to him and head over to the Jing family. Yi Wushuang and others are worried, seeing Yan abusing his power and having too much fun killing everyone. 3 days later, the Yi family's butlers are moving in multiple chests filled with treasures. Uncle Wu explains that the Zhou and Jing family's forces involved in the assassination of Yi family disciples have been purged, and all clans now look up to the Yi family. Also, all this treasure is what they got from the raid. Yan thanks Uncle Wu for keeping track of all things. Yi Wushuang praises Yan's vigilance, noting that without it, the Yi family would have disappeared from Baiyun City. At that moment, a man runs in, shouting for Master Yi. The man kneels and informs that the mayor has invited Yi to the mayor's residence for questioning. Following the orders, Yi arrives at the mayor's mansion and notices it is heavily guarded. Yi sees the mayor and greets him, introducing himself. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a number of sharp pointy thorns come flying towards Yi-Yun. Yi-Yun quickly summons a shield and deflects the thorns. Taken aback, Yi-Yun asks the mayor what he means by this as the mayor acknowledges Yi-Yun's quick reflexes. Mayor Fang Lei, in a wheelchair, expresses admiration for Yi-Yun's breakthrough to the 9th stage of the Blood Chi realm at such a young age and notes it's no surprise he annexed the two great families. Yi-Yun asks the mayor if he is raising an offense. The mayor asks Yi-Yun what he will do if he says yes. Yi-Yun claims that those two families were plotting against the Yi family, so he couldn't just stand still. Yi-Yun then declares that it might be time for a change in mayors. Hearing this, the mayor snarls at Yi-Yun, calling him a brat. The mayor and Yi-Yun's eyes lock in a fierce, perilous stare-down. The mayor, feeling his eyes drying up, gives an annoyed look and asks his daughter for the eye drops. Yi-eun, with a puzzled look, asks what's going on. The mayor explains that he is old, so his body can't handle using real energy, and tells Yi-eun not to be offended. The mayor acknowledges Yi-eun's bravery and assures him that he won't question his actions. He reveals his investigation found the Zhou and Jing families colluding with the Wild Horse Gang to kill innocents, saying they deserve to die. Yi-eun asks the mayor why he summoned him then. The mayor responds that he has a request for Yi-eun. His request is that he wants Yi-eun to escort his daughter, Yaling, to the Kaiyuan sect and protect her from all harm. Hearing this request, both Yaling and Yi-eun are taken aback. Yi-eun recalls that Elder Chio Tsangyan mentioned the Kaiyuan sect the other day. Meanwhile, Yaling roars at her father for breaking his promise to keep her from being sent away. The mayor reminds Yaling that she's no longer a child and explains that, due to his illness, he can no longer care for her. Furthermore, he points out that Yaling's talent is significant, and the Kaiyuan sect can help her harness it and become stronger. Yi-eun reminds the mayor he hasn't promised to go to the Kaiyuan sect yet. The mayor tries to reason with Yi-eun, telling him that joining the Kaiyuan sect would only be beneficial. He explains that with other families soon to rebel, Yi-eun may be overwhelmed, and he needs to get stronger to protect the Yi family. The mayor mentions that with various kinds of martial artists out there, Yi staying in Baiyun City forever will only hinder his growth. The mayor also promises to protect the Yi family from attack if Yi-eun returns his daughter safely from training. Yi-eun says the mayor is mistaken, noting that the current Yi family is strong and doesn't need anyone's protection, not even his. The mayor is offended by Yi-eun's boldness. Yi-eun snaps his fingers, and his people suddenly appear, capturing all the mayor's guards and holding blades to their necks. The mayor is taken aback as Yi-eun apologizes to him. Seeing this, Yaling draws a dagger and demands to know what Yi-eun is doing. Yi-eun's people announce that they've taken control of the mayor's mansion, and Yi-eun praises them for their work. Outside the mansion, even more people stand ready to act at Yi-eun's command. Yi-eun asks the mayor if he still thinks the Yi family needs others' protection. The mayor is speechless and shocked as he realizes all of the Yi family's guards are at the 7th stage of the Qi blood realm. Yi-eun claims that the former weak Yi family is no more and that no one can stop the new Yi family from becoming stronger. The mayor gives a sigh and accepts that he misjudged the situation. Yi-eun tells the mayor that he is right about one thing, prompting the mayor to ask what. Yi-eun agrees that there are many martial artists out there and plans to investigate them personally. The mayor now decides to resort to his trump card since Yi-eun can't be convinced. Yi-eun agrees to take on the mayor. To Yi-eun's surprise, the mayor grabs him around the waist and starts wailing, asking why Yi-eun is bullying a handicapped person. Yi-eun is completely taken aback, while Yalin looks embarrassed at her father's actions. The mayor continues crying, saying he will hang himself if Yi-eun doesn't promise to protect his daughter. Irritated, Yi-eun promises and asks the mayor to let go of him. The mayor then turns around and reminds Yi-eun to keep his promise and take care of his daughter well. The mayor pulls out a book, claiming it's his family's internal martial arts manual, with each aura possessing a masculine and dominating energy. He gives the book to Yi-eun as a token of his appreciation. Yi-eun inspects the book as the system congratulates him for acquiring the primary Earth-grade martial art, the Vajra glazed physique. The system also displays Yi-eun's current stats. Yi-eun bows to the mayor and agrees to escort Yalin safely to the Kaiyuan sect in 3 days. The Qingyang country is currently bustling with people. While eating at a restaurant, Li asks Wang about the many unfamiliar faces, and Wang explains it's due to the Kaiyuan sect recruiting disciples. Wang explains that the Kaiyuan sect is one of the strongest in Qingyang country, and its current recruitment is naturally attracting many martial artists. Wang also mentions that the conditions for the Kaiyuan sect to recruit disciples are harsh, so only a few succeed in the end. Wang adds that even those who pass the tests start as outside disciples, with only inner disciples receiving cultivation resources. Meanwhile, Yi-eun and Yaling ask for the check after finishing their meal at that restaurant. Yalin teases Yi-eun, asking if he is scared of not being recruited into the Kaiyuan sect after hearing what Wang said. Yi-eun says he isn't scared but instead quite excited. Yi-eun hopes the Kaiyuan sect won't be a disappointment to him. Yalin calls Yi-eun an egomaniac for saying he is excited. The Kaiyuan sect is located on Mount Qingyo, where one can reach by ascending Mount Qingyo. Yi-eun doesn't think the first challenge of climbing the stone staircase is that difficult. He asks Yalin what she thinks and sees that she is actually very tired, huffing, puffing, and sweating. Yalin is not happy seeing Yi-eun getting ahead of her so easily, and she doesn't want to make herself a fool in front of him. Yun says that it will be dark soon if Yulin continues going at this rate. Suddenly, Yun grabs onto Yulin's hand and pulls her closer, saying he will do her a favor. Yulin begins blushing, wondering if Yun will carry her to the top. But Yun grabs Yulin's hands and lifts her like a bag, saying it will be faster this way. Yuling is startled by being carried like this. Yun tells Yuling not to move or grab his hand as he swings her around, causing her to scream in fright. Yun then begins sprinting up the stairs, pulling Yuling along as she continues to yell. The other people climbing the stairs barely see Yun as he darts up so quickly he's a blur. Yuling curses Yun and shouts at him to put her down all the way up the stairs. After running for a while, Yun finally reaches the top and drops Yulin hard on the ground. Yulin, red in her face, says she feels very giddy. Zuiyan, the dictator of the Kaiyuan sect, congratulates Yun and Yulin for passing the first round of the trial. Zuiyan explains that the Kaiyuan sect requires disciples to be under 18 and have reached the Qi blood realm. Guogang points to the Kaiyuan sect's detecting stone, which checks candidates' age and cultivation levels to ensure they meet the requirements. Yun agrees that the conditions set by the sect are really harsh. 2 hours later, Zuiyan congratulates the candidates who managed to pass the test of strength with the detecting stone. He counts the total passed candidates to be 40. Zuiyan then instructs them to follow him for the second trial. Walking behind Zuiyan's lead, the candidates arrive at the martial arts arena of the Kaiyuan sect. Guogang says the final trial will be for candidates to win in the arena to become disciples of the Kaiyuan sect. The rules are simple. Candidates can fight each other within the arena, and the last 20 people remaining on the stage will be the winners. Explaining this, Guogang declares the trial starts now. A proud-looking guy smirks at the candidates, calling them rookies. He is Han Feng, an outer disciple of the sect, wondering if there will be any powerful participants this time. Chen Ping, another outer disciple, says it's boring and asks Han Feng if he wants to bet on who will win. Chen Ping points to Yun and believes he can make the cut, deciding to bet on him. Meanwhile, Han Feng points to another candidate beside Yun and bets on him for the win. Chen Ping smirks and says they'll see who wins, while Han Feng warns him not to cry if he loses the bet. Han Feng reveals that his bet is on a rare genius from the Chao family, whose cultivation level has already reached the first level of the Grandmaster realm. Moreover, Han Feng is surprised to see Chen Ping bet on someone unknown. Zuiyan gives the signal for the duel to commence. All the 40 participants start the rumble. Yulin points out that all these guys look tough and suggests she and Yun cover each other. However, Yun raises his hand and says, "Deacon." He then summons a token and wants to use it to get into the sect. Zuiyan inspects the token and realizes it belongs to Elder Chiu. Han Feng is shocked seeing this. Zuiyan declares that since Yun has been granted approval by Elder Chiu, he will directly pass the trial. Yun then agrees to just stay on the stage and watch the battle. Yulin asks Yun if he shouldn't be fighting alongside her. Yun notes that he can't be by Yuling's side constantly, and if she can't pass the outer trial on her own, she won't be able to be self-reliant. Yulin says that she doesn't need Yun's protection for the rest of her life. She then proclaims that she will win the trial on her own. Yulin bellows out "emerge," and a long whip appears in her hand. Yun watches Yuling fight from the side, thinking the agitation method is really working on her. Although Yun promised the mayor to protect Yuling, he believes it's better for her to become self-reliant. Yun believes that only real combat can make Yulin stronger. Meanwhile, Chen Ping claims victory in the bet, while Han Feng asks if he knew this would happen. Chen Ping points out that he didn't just place the bet but also did an inquiry beforehand. Han Feng says that if Chao Mian also advances, then their bet will be a draw. The battle rages fiercely among the contestants, with one of them being pushed down and crashing into the ground. Yulin looks around and notes that there are about 33 remaining people on the field. She is also surprised that she isn't nervous anymore after Yun gave her the speech. At that moment, Chao Mian sends an attack at Yulin while she is distracted. However, Yulin sees the attack and swiftly leaps off the ground, dodging it. Suddenly, Chao Mian appears right behind Yulin, saying she can't escape. He extends one arm to choke Yuling around her throat while raising the sword with his other hand to strike her. Grinning, Chao Mian tells Yuling she is weak and questions why a woman like her is at the Kaiyuan sect. Yulin begins sweating and struggling to breathe while Chao Mian tells her to admit defeat. Yulin looks over at Yun and finds him staring at her. Determined not to let Yun look down on her, she closes her eyes, filled with resolve. Suddenly, Chao Mian gives a startled look as a terrifying aura surrounds Yulin. Yulin then sends Chao Mian flying backwards with force, calling him out for underestimating women. Chao Mian crashes a few feet away, straight out of the arena. Seeing this, Han Feng is bewildered, his mouth agape in shock, as he asks how it's possible. It seems Yilin has broken through a realm. Yin gives a smile, noting it's not bad. Yilin is pleased to have defeated Chao Mian. Meanwhile, Chao Mian looks pissed off. He then lunges at Yilin from behind, telling her to die. However, Yin grabs onto Chao Mian's shoulder and stops his attack. Yin pushes Chao Mian downwards with force, causing his legs to break instantly. Chao Mian yells loudly in pain. Yilin turns around and is startled to see Yin pressing Chao Mian to the ground with his leg. Yin grabs onto Chao Mian's arm and asks if he tried to poison Yilin after losing. Chao Mian shouts at Yin to let go of him, but Yin forces Chao Mian's fist open and discovers he is holding poison. Seeing this, Yin says that he doesn't want to be co-disciples with people like Chao Mian. Chao Mian bellows out, reminding Yin about what Deacon Zhua had said. Yin points out that Zhua never said he couldn't strike anyone else, and twists Chao Mian's hand. Chao Mian yells out in pain and tells Yin not to kill him as the rules are against it. Yin lifts Chao Mian and agrees he isn't allowed to kill, while Chao Mian begs to be let go. Yin says that he will nullify Chao Mian's cultivation and sends him flying backwards with a kick. Chao Mian crashes feet away, his mouth wide open in shock. Zuiyan and Guogang are both bewildered, agreeing that Yin truly deserves all the praise. Yin tells the two deacons he doesn't want to be a co-disciple with scum like Chao Mian and asks if he's breaking the rules by acting this way. Both deacons confirm that Yin isn't breaking any rules. Yilin thanks Yin for saving her. Yin tells Yilin not to slack off, pointing out there are still many opponents left. Han Feng punches the wall nearby in rage as Chen Ping thanks him for the 5 Qi blood elixirs. Han Feng clenches his teeth, vowing to pay back Yin. 30 minutes later, most of the candidates in the arena have been defeated. Yin notes that the trial is almost over. One of them concedes defeat, and Xiao Wenqing says the game was good. Hu Wei raises his sword to strike his opponent, who admits defeat at the last moment. Zuiyan raises his hand, announces that time is up, and declares the remaining 20 participants as new outer disciples of the Kaiyuan sect. Yilin wipes sweat off her face, glad it's finally over. Yin looks over to the side and decides to watch out for Xiao Wenqing and Hu Wei in future. Zuiyan instructs the 20 disciples to follow him to the affairs hall where they will be given their jade identity tags. Zuiyan then leads the disciples to the hall. On the way, he explains that the Kaiyuan sect has 7 main, 36 secondary, and 300 smaller peaks. Among them, the 7 main peaks are the cultivation core of the Kaiyuan sect, richest in resources, and only inner disciples are allowed to enter. Guogang explains that in addition to the main hall, there are also the Spirit Refining Hall, Treasure Hall, Affairs Hall, Gladiatorial Arena, and the 7-tiered pagoda. The Spirit Refining Hall is separated by 36 stone chambers equipped with powerful spirit gathering formations where the disciples can cultivate on their own. The Treasure Hall is a place where the sect keeps its treasures, and inside there are rare treasures, martial art elixirs, and sacred weapons. The Affairs Hall is the task station as well as the place that provides the daily miscellaneous items needed. Guogang says it's too early for the new disciples to learn about the arena and the 7-tiered pagoda and promises to explain later. Zuiyan then asks the disciples if they all got their jade tags, storage bags, and the 5 spirit stones. He mentions that the Kaiyuan sect uses special spirit stones to activate cultivation formations, which will be given to disciples as their monthly salary. This means that, as Zuiyan points out, no matter their previous status or riches, it's all meaningless once they become disciples of the Kaiyuan sect. One of the disciples gives a horrified look, realizing all the money he brought will be useless now. After a while, Zuiyan points ahead to where the disciples will be staying. It's a massive mound full of caves which is for the male disciples. One guy looks disgusted seeing their shelter and says it's too simple. Zuiyan says that the outer disciples can only stay in the Mountain Peaks mansion when they become inner disciples. He suggests the disciples practice diligently and win the inner sect competition 3 months from now to become an inner disciple. Yiyun is currently cultivating inside the outer disciple's cave, sitting down with his eyes closed. He begins to gain. A while later, he opens his eyes, noticing something. He learns that placing the spirit stone in the spirit gathering formation yields 3 times its aura, so he decides to find more stones. 5 days later, someone is fast asleep at his desk in the affairs hall. A disciple asks Han Feng if he's at the affairs hall to borrow money, prompting Han Feng to snap at him to shut up. Han Feng had lost a lot betting 5 Qi blood elixirs and worries that without saving up spirit stones for new elixirs, he won't be able to improve his cultivation. But once he enters the hall, he sees a lot of disciples gathered there, all trying to get first in line. Han Feng grabs onto a disciple's collar and bellows out, asking what's happening and why the affairs hall is so crowded. Looking scared, the disciple explains that some disciple has claimed all of the missions and is accomplishing them really fast. Han Feng says there are only 20 new disciples and nearly 300 daily missions in the affairs hall, so there's not much to worry about. The scared-looking disciple also mentions that the special disciple has been completing almost 100 missions a day. Yun, who is at the front of the line, tells the old man Chu he's there to exchange for spirit stones. Chu, whose cheeks are red from drinking, scolds Yun for bothering him every day. He slams on the desk, telling Yun to take all the stones and never return. Yun collects all the spirit stones and says he will return the next day. Chu throws something at Yun, telling him he doesn't want to see him anymore. Yun raises his hand and takes the things Chu threw at him, thanking him. The other disciples gathered in the affairs hall are shocked to hear that old man Chu assigned Yun a grade 7 mission. The difficulty of the missions is categorized from 1 to 10, and the outer sect disciples are only suitable for 1st to 4th grade missions. The 5th to 10th grade missions are much more difficult. Now seeing Yun has managed to accomplish so many grade 7 missions alone, every other disciple is bewildered. Old man Chu declares that there will be no missions today for any other disciples. Han Feng bares his teeth in anger as he recognizes it's Yun again. Yun is standing on a tree branch, currently on his next mission. Down below on the ground, a group of wild wolves is sleeping peacefully. Yun recognizes them as grade 3 beast wolves, known for their team fighting skills, and estimates their number to be around 40. He then leaps down at the wolves, hoping to secure something big and keep 2 alive as proof for the affairs hall. The wolves notice Yun and bare their teeth at him, growling. Yun raises his fist and eliminates all the wolves in less than a second. He declares that these wolves are the stepping stones for him to get stronger, and he begins devouring them. After the devouring is complete, Yun receives a total of 3,600,000 EXP points. At that moment, his senses tickle as the 2 wolves he kept alive lunge at him from behind. Yun turns around swiftly as golden flames surround his body. The wolves are inches away from tearing Yun apart. Yun folds his arms, lightning crackling in his eyes, and bellows at the wolves to die, causing their heads to separate from their body. With this, the system notifies him that he has broken through to the first stage of the Grandmaster realm, granting him 10-fold attack speed. These are the current stats of Yun. As Yun heads back, he thinks the Vidra-glazed physique deserves to be Earth-ranked due to its strength. He sees that his attack speed has also increased. With his current rate of cultivation, Yun decides to ask Old Man Chu for grade 8 missions next time. Suddenly, from behind, an attack comes hurling at Yun while he is distracted. The attack strikes the ground nearby Yun, causing a small explosion. A group of disciples appears in front of Yun, and one of them standing on the top cliff orders him to hand over the demon elixirs. Yun asks that person if he knows him. Han Feng claims he knows Yun because he made him lose a bet days ago, and he agrees to let Yun go if he hands over the demon elixirs. Yun, standing with arms crossed, listens to Han Feng's threats. A disciple standing beside Han Feng suggests they just go in, beat Yun up, and take everything he has. But the other bald disciple says that it's not right for them to hurt a fellow disciple. However, Han Feng agrees to attack and instructs them to charge. Suddenly, Yun is surrounded from all sides. Wang tells Han Feng to watch while they beat Yun until he begs for mercy. All the disciples raise their hands and begin summoning lots of chains around Yun. Yun begins to feel his aura being absorbed and thinks he underestimated the attackers. Wang, with a sinister smile, points out that as Yun is new to the sect, he might not be aware of the spirit trapping formation. Within seconds, Yun is completely trapped inside the chains, encased like a cocoon. But he is completely calm as he asks the disciples if they think they can trap him. Suddenly, the chains begin to shatter, seeing which Wang is completely shocked. Yun then extends his arms as the golden flames surround him, causing all the chains to disappear. And Yun releases a massive shockwave that sends all of the disciples flying backwards. Witnessing from above, Han Feng is unable to understand how Yun managed to break through the Grandmaster realm in such a short time. Still, Han Feng points his sword ahead and charges at Yun, intent on killing him. As the sword closes in on Yun, he catches it with just 2 fingers. Han Feng gives a perplexed look as his sword shatters into pieces. Yun grips Han Feng's throat and declares that he will give Han Feng's own words back to him. And then he says that ever since Han Feng coveted his possessions, he was doomed. Han Feng begs Yun to spare his life, offering to give anything in return. Yun smirks, pointing out that Han Feng knows what's good for him, and then throws him hard to the ground. 15 minutes later, all the disciples who attacked Yun begin offering their mana stones to him to be spared. Yun looks at the stones and asks if they are truly worth the lives of the disciples. Yun notes that, being seniors, the disciples should have more spirit stones. He then asks them if they have their storage bags with them. Han Feng fumes with anger. A while later, all the disciples hand over their storage bags to Yun, hoping he will spare their lives. Yun takes the bags and says that the disciples have collected a lot of good stuff, and he collects all the mana stones, agreeing to spare everyone. The disciples seem relieved as Han Feng promises they won't tell anyone about what happened here. But before they can leave, Yun tells the disciples to wait a moment, and he moves as fast as lightning, leaving small cuts on everyone there and causing them to scream in pain. Han Feng, clutching wound, shouts that Yun has gone back on his word. Yun sheathes his sword and clarifies that he didn't break his word, he promised to spare their lives, not to avoid hurting them. Still clutching the wound, Han Feng bares his teeth in anger. With this, Yun sprints away, leaving the disciples groaning in pain. Inside his cave, Yun is currently cultivating. A lot of used-up mana stones lie scattered around on the ground. The system notifies Yun has broken through the second stage of the Grandmaster realm and also displays his new stats. Yun remarks that he didn't expect the senior disciples' storage bags to contain so many mana stones and elixirs, which helped him break through. He then gets up to rest when suddenly a voice calls out to him from a glowing thing lying on his bed. Startled at first, Yun turns around and picks up that thing, wondering why Yulin is trying to talk to him at this time. From the other side, Yulin asks Yun if he is free. Yulin explains that her friend received a grade 5 mission requiring 4 people, and since they only have 3, she asks if Yun wants to join them, noting that it's hard to get missions from the affairs hall these days. Yun realizes Yulin doesn't know he has caused the shortage in missions lately. Yun informs Yulin that he was planning to take a break and declines the offer to join. Yulin says to forget it and advises Yun to rest well. Yulin then tells Xiao that her friend is busy and suggests finding someone else to accompany them on the mission. Xiao says he understands and mutters it's a shame, a wicked grin spreading across his face.